Hello friends, this video on coal and petroleum part 12 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So with this, we have reached towards the end of this lesson on coal and petroleum. So let us quickly look at some of the questions. Question number 1. What are the advantages of using CNG and LPG as fuels? So the most important advantage is that they cause less environmental pollution because they leave very small amount of residue when burnt. They are also easy to transport through pipelines. So it's like you really do not need to create a lot of mess in order to transport them to different localities. They are more efficient. Now, since they do not leave a lot of residue behind them, that also proves that they are more efficient as fuels. Question number 2. Name the petroleum product that is used for surfacing of roads. So, yes, that is bitumen, as I said you. It acts as the binder which when mixed with the aggregate particles creates the concrete, and that's how it helps to surface roads. Question number 3. Describe how coal is formed from dead vegetation. What is this process called? Now, coal contains a lot of carbon, and that is why this process is often called as carbonization. It is formed from dead plants which once existed as dense forests, and then maybe due to phenomena like floods, they all sank deep down and over them came up soil and water. So floods buried the dense forests under the soil. As you can see here, these are the dense forests, the dead plants. So above the dead plants were layer of soil, and over a period of time, when I say period of time, I mean millions and millions of years, what happened was this layer of soil kept on increasing. More and more soil got deposited, rocks got deposited, stones and so many other things got deposited. As a result, the dead plants started experiencing more pressure, they got squeezed, they kept going deeper and deeper. So the temperature also increased as they went deeper. So under the effect of high temperature and high pressure, these dead plants lost all their water when squeezed, and they turned into what we call as coal. So high temperature and pressure converted them into coal. So this temperature and pressure, they play a very crucial role here. And this process is termed as carbonization because coal contains a lot of carbon. Question number 4. Fill in the blanks. Fossil fuels are dash, dash and dash. What are the 3 fossil fuels that we talked about? Coal, petroleum and natural gas. Process of separation of different constituents from petroleum is called. So what are the various constituents of petroleum? Petrol, diesel, kerosene, paraffin, wax, lubricating oil. So they are all various components. So what is that process where we separate them? That process is called petroleum refining, and it takes place in a petroleum refinery. Least polluting fuel for vehicle is CNG, that is compressed natural gas, because it leaves very little residue when burnt, and that's how it is more efficient fuel. It causes least environmental pollution. Question number 5. Tick true or false against the following statements. Fossil fuels can be made in the laboratory. Absolutely false. Because fossil fuels take millions and millions of years for their formation. So even if you try to create an ambience like that in the laboratory, you cannot manipulate the time. CNG is more polluting fuel than petrol. Well, not really. In fact, it is just the opposite. CNG is less polluting. Coke is almost pure form of carbon. Yes, absolutely. As I said, coke contains almost 60% of carbon. So obviously it is almost the pure form of carbon. Coal tar is a mixture of various substances. Yes, that is again true. What is coal tar? It is that thick liquid which is formed when the vapor gets condensed. So it is made up of a lot of different substances. Kerosene is not a fossil fuel. Again, that's false. From where do we get kerosene? Kerosene is obtained from petroleum, right? And petroleum is a fossil fuel. So kerosene is also a fossil fuel. Question number 6. Explain why fossil fuels are exhaustible natural resources. This is because even though fossil fuels are formed in nature, but it takes a really long time. It takes millions of years for fossil fuels to form. But the time which it takes for the fossil fuels to get utilized, that is very less. You just burn fossil fuels and they are all gone. So it doesn't really take much time to utilize the fossil fuels, but it takes a huge amount of time for their formation. So that is why we say that these are exhaustible resources. So once you use a fossil fuel, you cannot reuse it again. So that way it is non-renewable. Once you use it up, it tends to get finished. So you just have a limited stock for a long period of time. So that is why we need to use it judiciously. So fossil fuels are formed from dead plants and animals under high temperature and pressure over several millions of years. So it takes these many years. But the rate at which they are being used is very fast when compared to their rate of formation. So that is why they are considered to be present in limited stock and they are called exhaustible natural resources. Question number 7. Describe characteristics and uses of coke. So what was coke? The residue which was left after destructive distillation of coal. So it is a porous black substance. It is almost pure carbon because it contains almost 60% carbon. It is useful in manufacturing steel where it acts as a reducing agent. Now, coke has certain advantages over coal. And that is why it is often used as a substitute of coal. Now, one such advantage is coke is more efficient than coal, because if you look at it, coke contains considering the amount of coal and the amount of coke contains more carbons. Coke stands out to be more efficient. It is also found that those elements or those components of the coal which actually cause a lot of pollution when coal is burned, those components get removed during the process of formation of coke from coal. So that way coke causes less pollution when compared to coal. So these are some of the advantages of coke, due to which it is used in domestic heating purposes as a substitute to coal. Question number 8. Explain the process of formation of petroleum. So petroleum is formed from the living organisms which once lived in the oceans. Now these organisms were called diatoms. So when they died, they went to the floor of the sea. So they went down towards the sea floor. And then over a period of time, soil and rocks and all those things started getting deposited over those dead organisms. Now, when actually time kept on passing by, so they kept on going deeper and deeper. So the temperature increased as they went deeper. Under this high temperature and the pressure, these dead organisms turned into oil, or what we call as petroleum. So that's how petroleum was formed. So with this, we have reached towards the end of this lesson on coal and petroleum. I hope that this lesson would have helped you to understand about these extremely useful exhaustible resources, and you would have also learned how can we actually judicially use these natural resources so that they can be stored for our future generations as well. So see you all in the next lesson. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.